Hello everyone. Welcome back to Esentaxa channel. This is the hour live this Friday evening. In this live, we are going to talk about the how to pay zero taxes in Italy in 2023. We will see when it's possible, which are the possibilities, when actually, or better, which is the strategy to pay zero taxes, in which type of income, and we also try to see what would be the new budget law, because in these weeks we are going to release more and more information about the new Italian government that wants to change some tax, let's say tax percentage. They want to reform a little bit the taxation in Italy. So let's start first with these points. I just gathered some points, and let's see what changed in 2023 and what it remains exactly the same. So first of all, we already talked in this channel about the occasional work. So this is the kind of a limit which is below 5,000 euro per year, below which you don't pay any taxes, and you don't even pay social contributions, so you don't pay absolutely nothing. This kind of benefit, it works when you perform occasional work. So the occasional work means that sometimes I do a certain kind of work, I do some kind of activity, it can be a service, I can sell some goods. This is not a problem. It's something that I do occasionally. The occasionally, like a word, means that it's not something that I do continuously for more than 30 days, and my income never passes 5,000 euros. But if you stay at the beginning below this threshold, of course, you don't pay any taxes. This stays also in 2023. So nothing changed from this point of view. This is quite useful when you start up a new activity. So you start a new business before opening a VAT position. This is very nice because you, for the first 5,000 euros, so the first couple of months of your activity, you might test your business. And if it works, then you open a VAT. So this is a very, very nice option. There is another thing, there is another secret about this option, about the occasional work. The occasional work actually allows you also to deduct your cost, and a lot of people are not aware about this. So you can basically purchase goods if you want to resell them, or simply you can provide some seminars, some consultancies in some other country that you have to provide your travel expenses. You have to pay for your travel expenses. So if all those expenses are directly linked with your activity, you can deduct them all at 100%. That has to be strictly related with your activity. So in the occasional work, you also have this option, and this option remains the same in 2023. Then another possibility to stay tax-free in Italy is when you flip your home after 5 years. So I purchase a property, then I wait that my property value grows through 5 years, and if I resell my property with a higher price, the capital gain is tax-free 5 years later, the purchase. But there is an exception. The exception is the following: if you set in your property your primary residence, so it has to be a residential property, of course, then actually you can purchase with the benefit of prima casa, first home benefit in Italy. Then you can refurbish this home, but you have to live in this home. That's the point. You have to prove that you are living there. And after, let's say, 1 year and a half, 2 years of owning this property, you want to resell it, okay? But you're going to purchase, so the law says you can do it, but you have to purchase another first home. So you say to the Italian state, okay, I'm going to purchase this home because it's my primary residence, is the place where I live. That's fine. I will give you the tax benefit when you purchase a home, and also I can refurbish this home. But then I decide that I don't like it anymore and I want to resell it, okay? Because then I want to live in another home, which becomes again my primary one. So if you do this kind of switch, if you flip, if you move to another residential property, and you do this in a span of 12 months, so in 12 months you manage to sell your primary home and then purchase another one, or purchase another one and sell the previous one in a span of 12 months. And if you realize a gain in this slot of time, this gain is tax-free because it's not a speculation. So that's the law says. And if it's not a speculation, it's not taxed at 26%, which is the Italian 26% flat tax. Okay. Also, this remains the same 2023. So this is a second way of gaining some money, some capital gains, completely tax-free. Then we have the cryptocurrency investments or gaining the cryptocurrency capital gains. In Italy, the cryptocurrencies are equiparated with the money, the foreign currencies. So if you purchase foreign currency like pounds or dollars, for example, and you hold them in a certain bank account somewhere, and then you realize a gain because the currency gains some value against the euro, for example, this gain is tax-free. And this also works for the cryptocurrencies because the Italian government, what they did is simply they equiparated two things. So they are exactly the same concept. And in the Italian law is explicitly written that if you hold your foreign currency, which is also the cryptocurrency, in whatever account, and your value at the 1st of January, so at the exchange rate of the 1st of January of that current year, so the value of all your cryptocurrencies, it's above 51,000 euro and something for 7 days, consecutive 7 days, it means that you have to start pay taxes, 26% capital gains. But if you are below this threshold, you don't pay any taxes. So it's another situation where the capital gains is tax-free, okay? This also, the limit of 51,000 is actually remained exactly the same. We didn't receive any other clarification from the Italian tax agency, so basically the rules remain the same also in 2023, unless some latest moment decision from the Italian government that might change idea on this subject. But no newspapers and no rumors are behind this thing. So up to now, everything remained exactly the same. Which is basically quite stable thing in Italy. It's normally Italy used to change a lot these fiscal schemes, fiscal benefit, but now Italy it starts to have a real nice structure with all these tax benefits, these tax strategies that we can keep them. And thanks to this stability through the years, we can easily plan a long-term optimization plan. Okay. Then we have the Inpatriate Regime also. How can we consider an income tax-free under the Inpatriate Regime? Well, it's very easy. When you move to south of Italy, the Inpatriate Regime gives you 90% deduction of your income. So it means that only 10% of your income is taxable. So imagine you're earning 100,000 euro per year, only 10,000 is taxable. And when you have only 10,000 euro as income, it's basically almost tax-free. You're supposed to be taxed at 23%, which is the first brackets, but you also are entitled to receive some deductions, which are the deduction after tax in Italy. And those deductions basically almost eliminate the RPF that you have to pay. So I would say that up to 100,000 euro per year, you're almost tax-free, or basically tax-free. The only thing that you have to pay is the Social Security. And we already talked extensively about the Social Security in this channel, the problem that Italy didn't clarify if you have to calculate the Social Security on 100,000 euro or on 10,000 euro. So the Social Security has to be paid, but the taxation up to 100,000 euro actually, based on calculation on the Italian tax file return, allows you to be tax-free, basically. This works as an employee type and as a self-employed type, which are the two types of incomes which are basically belong to the Inpatriate Regime. Also, royalties, autonomous work under royalties form, they can be part of the Inpatriate Regime. There are some specific cases in which we can analyze with you guys if you fall in this category. Keep in mind that below this video, you always find the description, in the description, our contact email if you want to ask some questions, if you want to know more about our services, our consultancy services, our tax assessment service. And you can also schedule a free call of 15 minutes with our team in which you can basically ask all your questions. If you have some doubts, if you want a specific service, we can also customize a service for you. We can tailor the service for you. If you want to move to Italy, if you want to understand if your income fall in some specific tax scheme, tax benefit, or if your income can be tax-free for certain kind of, let's say, level of revenues, such as this one that I'm just listing right now. So the Inpatriate regime actually gives you this great tax discount. It remains the same also. We just hope that next year we finally have the clarification from the Italian National Social Security Institution to clarify the calculation of the pension, basically. And finally, the Forfeit regime. It's a very nice regime. We extensively talk about the Forfeit regime as well. But in 2023, we are start to have maybe a good news. Also in the previous live that I've done with you guys, I already mentioned that the Forfeit regime will be extended most likely up to 100,000 euro. Now the government basically it's willing to do this, but in 2023 I think they will extend this regime up to 85,000 euro per year as a revenue, and in 2024 will be extended to 100,000. This is the scenario that will be more. It's likely to be happen. Okay. And the Forfeit regime, okay, it's very nice. You only pay 5% of taxes. It stands for the first 5 years, and it can be very, very, very useful for you guys when you want to be digital nomad. Because keep in mind that if you register your name in any Italian commune of residence for one or more than 183 days, you'll be automatically Italian tax resident. So it would be very easy have a base in Italy and then move around the world with a Forfeit regime, but not with the Inpatriate regime. This is a very important point to be distinguished. And finally, before I move into reply to some questions of you guys, and finally, we will have a new concept that is going to be introduced into the Italian fiscal structure and fiscal law. The new concept is the incremental flat tax. Most likely, this government wants to introduce this concept. It's completely brand new thing. And it's just a way to push people to declare more money, because the problem of Italy is that at a certain tax rate, you jump from 25 to 35, then 43. So when you have your revenue higher, you immediately going to be paid something like 43% of taxes. So the idea of the government is the following. If for 2 consecutive years or 3 consecutive years, your income grew by a certain delta, this incremental revenue that you managed to have because your business grew for some reasons will be taxed at 15%. Okay, so let me explain. Let me rephrase a little bit. So let's say with an American example, let's say you're earning 100,000 euro per year. Okay, and you are an ordinary regime. You don't apply for the Inpatriate regime, not for regime, just ordinary Italian residents that are already living in Italy. So you have 100,000 euro. Okay, in 2020. Then in 2021, you managed to improve your business and you had the chance to grow up to 150 euro as a revenue, okay? And then you grow still in 170,000 euro in 2022. So you had an incremental, right? Now, the incremental part from 100,000 up to 170,000, so that's 70,000 as an incremental, part of your revenue, instead of being taxed at 43% or 35% or 50%, no, 50, we don't reach 50% in Italy, at 43%, which is the highest tax rate, will be taxed at 15%. Okay, so up to 100,000, you will use the ordinary tax brackets. That after the 100,000, you will be taxed at 15%, which is quite weird if you think about it. I mean, I don't think this kind of calculation is very common in a lot of countries in Europe and in the world, but this kind of strategy allows you to provide a flat tax for a certain period of time for your incremental revenue. And after 2 years or after 3 years of being applying this 15% flat tax on your incremental part of your revenue, then you will be taxed at the normal tax rate. It's something that has to be still defined, well defined, I would say. The law is still a draft. Those are propositions from the government. Of course, the parliament has to a little bit define and tailor something, tune this kind of draft law, this kind of law, let's say, but it's a new concept. So if this concept would be introduced in the Italian fiscal system, that would be very interesting and would be very nice also to understand how the calculation would work. Of course, this example, it's just what I understood right now from the newspapers, from the news, from the official fiscal news, but it's still, again, a draft of the law. We will need to also have more details when we will have these calculations on the hand. So we will need to see, and we will need to wait. We know that the budget law will be released in the end of this year, in December. But now that we are in November, at the moment of this live, actually, we are going to see more and more details coming up. And those are the news for 2023. Let's see, now we have already one question in the channel, in the chat. Afros wrote, I recently got a job. This is my 4th year in Italy, okay, as I did my master in the past 3 years, okay. Am I eligible for 70% tax exceptions? How can I pay less tax as possible? Okay. So I think here you are referring to the Inpatriate regime. Unfortunately, your case, it's clearly not possible to be part of the Inpatriate regime for the one simple reason. The Inpatriate regime, the law behind the Inpatriate regime, the logic behind is the following. You're supposed to have a genuine repatriation. Here, in your case, in your scenario, you lived basically in Italy since now, because you said I lived in Italy for 4 years and I got my master in the past 3 years. And the Inpatriate regime requires you to live abroad in the past 2 years. So you should have 2 fiscal years minimum abroad, and this is not your case. And then you also find a job. And here there's also another obstacle. You basically got a job in Italy. So the Inpatriate regime does not allow you to find a job in Italy. So you cannot move to Italy, take the residence and looking for a job, or simply looking for a job. You're supposed to be invited from an Italian company or also from a foreign company, and with a letter of intent, and then this company should explicitly require you to work in the Italian territory. So it's like an invitation. It's like, I need your skill, I need your expertise. Please come to Italy, work here, and I can give you this tax discount. So this is the logic behind the Inpatriate regime. That's the reason why we highly recommend to book a consultation with us, because we can analyze your personal situation and see if you really are eligible for this regime. And of course, you will get a big tax discount. In this case, for this question, the discount was 70%, because I imagine that she wants to move in the north of Italy or in the center of Italy, which just goes down to Rome, region of Lazio, basically. And this last question was, the second question of this this user was the how can I pay less tax as possible? Okay, so of course, if you're an employee in Italy, the only thing you can do is to play with the deductions, which is that deduction after tax. So you have your payroll, and when you have your payroll, and this is your only income, you don't have any other income, you're not even obliged to provide a Italian tax file return, because your company provides already this document and will be transmitted automatically to the Italian tax agency. But what can you do? You can go to the office, that, let's say, office for taxpayers. They are called CAF in Italy, CAF. And basically, you can try to see if your yearly expenses can be put as deductions. For example, you went to the pharmacy, you purchased some medicines, you went to the doctor, and you pay for the visits. All these kind of expenses, health expenses, are deductible at 19% against your taxes. How can you claim back these deductions? Well, you go to your accountant or to the CAF office, you go with your CUD, which is basically what your employer gives you as a summary of your tax paid, and then you ask if all these expenses can be deduct again your RPF, and then you have to provide the Italian tax file return. And with the Italian tax file return, they can basically subtract this 19% of your expenses against your RPF that you're supposed to pay. And you can recover some money back through the bank account, through paycheck, there are some procedure to do this. So when you're an employee, this is the only thing you can do. You can use your RPF, your taxes that you have already paid, basically your employer paid in your behalf, and try to reduce them, exploiting the detractions. Now, in Esentaxa channel, we talk about this detraction. We have a long list, and you can basically check if you, during this year, you made some expenses like this. You have to just type the video, how squeeze your taxes like a lemon. And remember, this was one of the videos that I made here in Esentaxa. And you can see the list of the detractions that you will have. And they most likely remains the same also in 2023. There will be some differences. That's the reason why you have to, of course, contact your accountant. Instead, if you want to improve and let's say your net in your pocket, what you can do is to move to the forfeit regime. Of course, the problem of the forfeit regime is that you cannot keep working for the same employer. So if you're an employee of a certain company, certain entity in Italy, and then you want to move to the forfeit regime, because the forfeit regime tax you less, okay? So you agree with the daily rate, and then what you have in your pocket is higher than your payroll, right? But the problem is that in the forfeit regime, you cannot keep working with the same company, because this is against the law. You cannot be a fake freelancer, right? So you're supposed to be looking for a different job with a different client, because when you're looking for a job as a freelancer, you're looking for a client, you're not looking for employers. So that's the big difference. And with the forfeit regime, of course, you pay less taxes, because you pay 5% taxes only, and with the social security based on the coefficient of your deductibility, as the forfeit regime had. That's pretty much. If there are no other questions, I think we can close this live, because we already passed 20 minutes, so I already talk a lot tonight. Yeah, any questions, guys? I can maybe wait just a little bit. I don't see any other questions. Okay, just wants to remind you, in the description below the video, we have made our, we have published our link to our team, so you can have a free consultation, 15 minutes with our team. You can basically ask more in details what you need, and we can basically provide you a consultation afterwards to see if the relocation to Italy works for you. We can analyze your income. We can check exactly what is your situation, and based on that, we can also afterwards, if you want to move to Italy, we can provide an accounting service. We can incorporate entities in Italy. But we also now, we are expanding our knowledge throughout Europe. We also start to promote Portugal as a country, because we are starting having and looking for partners there. So in case Italy is not the right place for you, we can also help you guys to understand if Portugal would be the right place for you. And I think we can close this live now. So thank you very much for watching this live. This will be published then on our channel, and if you missed it, you will see it later for sure. Thank you, and have a good night. Bye bye.